Hello everybody, Andy here from Glass Half Dead, a Kill Team channel on the YouTube. How's it going? Today I want to tell you how to start in Kill Team. What do you need to buy? Have you gone and asked and researched and you cannot understand the difference between Hivestorm or Blood and Zeal or Typhon or the starter set or an individual team? Even when you are being told to buy the starter set but you don't want the teams in there, you don't want the terrain, but you want the terrain from there, but you don't want it. You get what I'm saying here. In this video, I'm going to break down what you need to buy for how you want to start. I'm going to explain everything. Check out all of the timestamps below if you only want to know a very specific thing, but if you are a true beginner, this is the place to be. I'm going to explain everything from what is Kill Team, how does it interact with 40k, can use the same models, can use the same rules, can use the same conversions. I'm also going to talk about release schedules, yearly rotations, 1-box versus 2-box teams. I'm going to give you all the information you need to get straight to the table and get playing without wasting your money on products that you actually didn't need when you actually wanted to get into it this way. Cool. Let's get into it, but of course, before we do get into it, I would like to give a quick subscriber-only benefit, and that subscriber-only benefit is a big double hello. Wow, so wholesome, truly the wholesomest knows no bounds in the world of Glass Half Dead. So if you have subscribed, liked, and left a comment, you have a double pleasantry. You're welcome. That is a gift from me to you. Let's start with the absolute basics. Maybe this is the first video you've ever seen for Kill Team. What is Kill Team? How does it relate to 40k? That is a lot of people's big questions. Kill Team is a skirmish game set within the universe of Warhammer 40,000. Now you've probably heard of Warhammer, in which case you've probably heard of Warhammer 40k, which is the mass battle game. You'll be looking at 100 units plus in that in general. Whereas Kill Team is its smaller cousin, if you want to view it that way, where you're using 10 units plus. In general, you can go as low as 5, you can go as high as 14 in Kill Team. So it's the skirmish game for Warhammer 40,000, but there's a really important thing there. These models that you are seeing here are also Warhammer 40,000 models. So this box of Kassakin is a Kill Team in its own right, but it is also a squad in Warhammer 40k. But the rules are completely different, and not just the rules for an individual unit, but for the game as a whole. If you heard of Warhammer 40k and you're thinking, that's a bit much, I want to learn 40k as a stretch goal, but let's start smaller, let's start with Kill Team, the skirmish game. That is not what's happening here. This is a completely different rule set. Everything you learn here will not transfer at all into Warhammer 40k. If you're looking for smaller 40k, you want to be looking at combat patrol or perhaps boarding actions. I will not be talking about those formats in this video. This is purely about the specific rule set of Kill Team. Now, why should you play Kill Team instead of 40k? 40k is really cool and has such amazing epic battles, and you should definitely be checking that out as kind of the stretch goal, right? However, Kill Team is a little bit more of a concentrated rule set that really focuses on your dudes and tactical decision making at the table. And honestly, that's one of the key differences between 40k and Kill Team. In Kill Team, the majority of the game, the meta, happens at the board, at the table. That might sound like an obvious thing, but what I mean is that in 40k, a lot of what you're going to be doing is list building and thinking about things before you come to the table and coming up with strategies before you get to the table. Kill Team is a far more reactive rule set due to the fact that instead of working in phased gameplay, we work in simple alternating activations where every model can do a certain number of actions, and therefore the reactions that you can have to what your opponent does happen far, far quicker. I'm just going to hit it home one more time. This is not 40k light. This is not small 40k. This is a totally separate rule set that GW has actually put quite a lot of time into making its own thing for its own section of players. Some people will love Kill Team, some people will love 40k, some people will love both, but just because you love one does not mean you will love the other. Very, very different rule sets despite using the same models. A quick note on release schedule. So Kill Team releases a box like this, which will have some terrain and 2 teams every 3 months. So we are on a quarterly release cycle. Once per year, we will get a bigger box, more like Hivestorm here, or like the upcoming Kill Team Tomb World. And then after we've had, for example, Blood and Zeal, which comes with the Goremongers and the Sanctifiers, 3 months later, we will get the next box, which in this instance was Typhon, and the models that are in here will get released separately at the same time as the next big box. So if you only wanted, for example, the Goremongers from here, but you didn't want the Sanctifiers or the Terrain, you would not buy Blood and Zeal, you'd wait 3 months, and then Goremongers get released as their own team. In September, October time, we have a big box release every year. Last time it was Hivestorm, this upcoming time it is Tomb World. The way you should think of the big box release is that it's going to be 2 teams, but in addition, it's going to be a kill zone. A kill zone is terrain. Hivestorm we'll talk about in a moment, but this was a unique one as it was the launch box for a new edition. Upcoming, we're going to be getting Tomb World, but there won't be any core rules in there. We'll talk about rules in a moment, and then following on, whatever we get next year also will not have core rules. They just get a kill zone and 2 teams, and that is the big box. But let's talk about rules. So there are 2 versions of rules. If you want completely free rules, you go to the Kill Team app. In the Kill Team app, you get light rules. They're completely free. You just get them by downloading the app. The app's completely free. In fact, all of the team rules are completely free as well in that app. It's actually a pretty decent app. It's just a PDF reader, essentially. But it's all free, so there you go. Free forever. Lovely, great stuff. And the light rules are also free in the app. Now, the light rules are for people getting started that haven't decided to go all in or not yet. The core rules, you have to buy. Now, the core rules came in Hivestorm, or you can buy them separately. Hivestorm no longer exists, but we'll talk about why that is in a moment and how you should get started, potentially. So if you want to own the core rulebook and the card tokens, which we'll talk about when we get to extras and widgets, don't worry, then you do need to buy the core book as its own separate item these days. There are, of course, other places that will have the core rules. I recommend going to the old Google and typing in Battle Kit KT3. That will give you the full core rules. However, minor note, we all learn differently. Although, as someone that had the core book and learned Kill Team through that, was then able to transfer my knowledge to be able to use BattleKit as only a rules lookup service. But quite genuinely, I would have found learning the game fully from just BattleKit quite challenging. I would, of course, strongly recommend that you actually learn the game by checking out my How to Play. It starts from absolute beginner, like how do you move a model, all the way up to when you know, what are you doing at your first tournament level type game. Links for that in the description or the pinned comment, I guess. I don't know if I can be bothered, right? After you've learned the core rules, you then also have something called approved ops. In the core rules book, you have 3 ways or 3 missions that you can play the game. Likewise, for light rules, there's 1 way to play. You don't have to ever progress beyond that. If that's how you enjoy a nice lighter skirmish game, stick with that. You're good to go. But if you ever want to consider going to a tournament, you're going to have to step the game up to something called approved ops. Now, approved ops is basically the advanced way of playing Kill Team. So along with your kill op, as in kill dudes and you score points, and crit op, aka you stand on an objective and you score points, we add in a tac op, aka do a thing that you think you're able to do well and better than your opponent and you score points. We get a new one of those at the same time we get the new big box every year, so think September, October sort of time. If you're ever looking at people talking online, they will basically be talking about approved ops as if it is mandatory and the way to play the game. But again, it really isn't. You can play just with light rules and never go beyond that, whatever you're happy with. When you go ahead and buy, for example, the Kassakin here, you will notice that you are able to buy something called Kassakin data cards. This is a card pack that will have all of the data cards printed out for you so you can use physical media in your game. I'm going to stress really hard now, that is a luxury product. You do not need to buy them. There is nothing in there that is not already in the Kill Team app. And in Kill Team app's kind of favour, they have made it incredibly printable. The rules in the app are designed, laid out for you to print. In this branded, you know, black and orange with this particular Kill Team logo on box, you get the models you need for your team, but you also get tokens. Now, the tokens that you get in these are just a quality of life upgrade if you're really into that team. When you bought your core rules, you also got a big token sheet that had a bunch of generic tokens which can act as tokens for anything, for any team. So you do not need to buy the Kassakin. If you already have the models from last edition or whatever that didn't come with the token sheet, you do not need to buy this just to get the tokens. You have everything you need from your core token sheet. But likewise, if you do not want to actually buy a whole new box just to get the token sheet, there are, of course, lots and lots and lots of options online for individual token packs, 3D printed, acrylic printed, whatever. And we'll talk about those in a moment when we get to extras and widgets, etc. Before we talk about the teams, I'm going to talk about terrain because that's a little bit of a quicker chat. So basically, every 3 years we rotate official terrain. So currently we have Beta Decima, we have Into the Dark, which is going to be swapped for Tomb World in a moment, and we have Vulcus, which came originally in Hivestorm box, but you can also just buy as a Killzone as its own product. The big benefit of using these is that you know that the game has been tested on those layouts, and you will find specific layouts for each Killzone in the approved ops map pack. So the game is designed and play tested around those 6 layouts for each of the kill zones. But, and I cannot stress this enough, you do not have to play on those. The game is totally valid to play on any other sort of terrain. If you have some 40k lying around, if you have any of the last edition kill zones, or even the edition before that, Kill Team 2018 edition kill zones lying around, those are all valid. You can use third-party stuff, you can use pre-printed MDF. I've done a whole load of videos already on how to set up Kill Team terrain and different terrains I would recommend from different people, so do check those out if you want a little bit more of a guide on that. But if you don't know what you're doing, you're a little bit concerned about wasting money, then sticking with the GW terrain is simple and easy because it does have the approved ops layouts and you just don't have to think about it and just say, I've got the official stuff, I'm sorted. Finally, we can get to the teams themselves. Okay, so in Kill Team, there's a really cool thing, which is that every single team in the game is a 1-box purchase. If you want the Kasrkin team, you buy the Kasrkin box and you are done. Congrats! You have finished your collection hobby. You have a full, ready-to-go team that is just as powerful as anybody else running Kasrkin, which is, of course, a huge difference to how 40k works with list building, etc. We run a box is a team. With a minor addendum, some teams, although every box is a legal team, some teams do insist upon themselves that they have 2 boxes. For example, the Death Corps here. This is a 10 model team. That is a legal team, you can run it. And because you're only taking 10 models, you get like some little bonuses that you wouldn't have been able to get otherwise. But everybody agrees that Death Corps should be run as a 14-man team. So if you're brand new to Kill Team, you have no other models, you kind of need to buy 2 boxes of Death Corps for another 4 models. It's a whole rules thing, don't worry, look into it if you're interested in Death Corps, but it is what it is. But then on the flip side, Mandrakes, well, they're a really interesting team. They are a true 1-box team because there are no operatives that you cannot build when you run Mandrakes. So this is a true 1-box team. This is a 2-box team, and this I would consider a semi 1-box team. Now, I don't want to scare you with that. Don't worry about it. You always have a legal team from 1 box. And then once you've played it, you can see, oh, you know what? I probably need a 2nd box. Fair enough. But you will never be denied play after buying 1 box. With one exception, which is the Inquisitorial Kill Team. I don't know what GW was smoking when they came up with this one. The Inquisitorial Kill Team is the only Kill Team box that is not legal to play from a single box. If you have any other models in your collection, you can make it work, but not if that's your first team. There you go, that's all I'm saying. They are the only mandatory 2-box Kill Team. But we have to talk about something called seasonal rotation now. For some, this is a little bit controversial. For me, I don't really care. I understand why they've done it. But because you're making your first uninformed purchase before you've gotten too deep in it, I'm going to let you know about rotations. Here's how it works. Every team in the game has legal rules for the next 3 years. Okay? This is the oldest team in the game. Then these 2 are equally old. And then Aquilons are brand new. Okay, cool. You don't need to know that. If you go into your Kill Team app, you'll see there's a tournament companion and it will say in there which teams rotate out every year. So because this is one of the oldest teams in the game, from September, October, we don't know when exactly, onwards, this will not be legal to play in tournaments. There you go. That's all that needs to be said. It's still legal to play. They're not saying you can't play this anymore. There will even be tournaments that do allow you to play with the older teams. You're thinking you want to win a golden ticket, mainly. You won't be able to use certain teams. Go check the app, see which those are. It's all of the first year, basically. So Death Corps, Commandos, etc. are all cycling out. I will stress this is only if you're looking at golden ticket tournaments. If this is your first ever time purchasing a Kill Team box, I don't think you need to care about this. You should always just buy what is cool. I really have to stress that. If you see a cool box, buy that box. That should be your first box. Just understand that for some, you won't be able to play them at a golden ticket event. Cool. If this concerns you, your absolute best bet is to only buy teams from the latest edition. So that's going to be your Aquilons, your Blood and Zeal teams, your Typhon teams, etc. And just pretend that the older teams don't exist yet, which means you still get access to like 12 teams, which is pretty good. But of course, there are going to be a few people that want to know, how do you pick your first team? This isn't really the video for that, because the answer there is legit. What team looks the coolest to you? Pick that team. That is the actual answer. But some of you might be saying, oh, but Andy, I don't want to lose. My narrative is I win. What is strong? And I cannot tell you what is strong, because within 3 months' time, every 3 months we get a balanced data slate, which means whatever I say now will not be true then. And in general, basically every team has a chance to win. You know, like there are very few teams that genuinely could not win a tournament. There are some, I want to stress that, but that is me saying that now. In 3 months' time, that might not be true anymore, because that's generally how GW buffs and nerfs things. They like to bring everything to the middle, and that means anything that cannot win a tournament right now will probably get buffed to the point that it can, and the Kill Team devs are doing a great job of not over-nerfing or over-buffing teams. So all of the strong teams that maybe you're looking at the win rates, the tier list right now, of which I've done many, by the way, you're looking at those, you're thinking, oh, well, actually, there's no point looking at this, because even though this is strong now, in 3 months' time, it won't be. GW isn't destroying teams with the nerf bat. They're doing really small increments. So if you genuinely really do care about winning the most, pick from the top 10 teams and you're sorted. They might get nerfed, but they are not going to get destroyed. So that is the answer there. But again, I really would say for your first kind of purchases, if you're watching this video, it probably is, you've got to be looking at what team looks cool. You are going to be spending longer building and painting your team than playing, I guarantee you, so focus on that. There is, of course, one more way to get teams, which is third-party models, whether it be from other companies or Etsy, Patreon, kind of 3D printer stuff. If you want to know how to validly proxy one of those types of 3D printed teams for one of these official teams, I've done 2 really in-depth proxy guides. Just search Glass Half Dead proxy and you will come up with the full rules that you need to know. The key is base size and recognizability. There you go, check that out. Which brings us to how to actually buy your first thing. So the Kill Team starter set would logically be your first purchase, right? And very genuinely, I think this is good, and I think this should be your first purchase. However, what if you do not like either team? This is a brilliant starter set, very genuinely. You should purchase this. Unless you genuinely hate the models, this is your first purchase. It also gives you MDF terrain, which is legit, really, really good for just learning the game on. Really solid. This is legit like one of the best starter sets GW does. Cool. Now, let's say you don't like it. Let's say you hate it. Let's say you hear everybody saying you should be buying Hivestorm. Cool. Hivestorm was the launch edition box. This gives you the full Volcus kill zone, a core book, 2 teams, bunch of stuff. It is no longer sold. If you find Hivestorm, I would genuinely recommend you buy this, because it's a great way to get into Kill Team. But what if you don't like the models in it? Good question. So then you want to look at your quarterly release. These bad boys right here stay in stock for, if you're lucky, a week. These are hard to get hold of because Kill Team's selling really well. If you like the models and the terrain in one of these, pick them up. If you only like one of the teams, your best bet's probably eBay. There you go. Or wait for 3 months until they get released on their own, in which case I don't think we've had a real issue with getting hold of them. But that will change with Raveners and Typhon, obviously, because Tyranids, right? But no, you don't want to do that. Cool. You want to buy one box and nothing else because you want to go your minimum possible input. You want a single box, and then you're going to use the battle kit, and you already have some random tokens lying around. I would firstly say Kill Team's really hard to play if you don't have the actual token set. There you go. But maybe you're buying third party, which we'll talk about in a second. So you just want to buy one box, in which case buy one box. That's fine. But I've already mentioned that you will need to learn the core rules somehow, or stick with the light rules. That's fine too. And you will 100% need tokens. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Andy, I'm a gamer. I've got random, Magic the Gathering tokens. I've got random things lying around that will easily allow me to denote my orders, what order I'm on and what status effects are going on. I understand you think that. You are incorrect. I promise you, even if you don't want the official tokens, you do need Kill Team specific tokens plus your one box. So that's your minimum buy-in, okay? One box, not Inquisitorial Agents, Kill Team specific tokens, and then some form of terrain, because yes, this is a skirmish game, which means it's incredibly reliant on terrain. It does not have to be GW official terrain, as we've already discussed, but you do need it. You can go kitchen table, some mugs, some cups. A bowl of salt would be very on theme for the online Kill Team community, so use that for sure. But my official recommendation is the Kill Team starter set. I genuinely think that the Angels of Death are legit the best team to learn the game on. I strongly recommend that. And Plague Marines are a little bit more complex than the Angels of Death, but also good. Additionally, the starter box has the MDF terrain. It has two full teams with a little bit of list building options for you there. And it has a tutorial guidebook to let you learn the game at their pace. Although, again, of course, you should be just watching my legit best on the internet how to play Kill Team videos. Which brings us to the extras. Now, this is not required, but I'm not going to tell you what is good. I'm just going to tell you what I personally use every time I play the game, and you could decide if you think that's something that you want to have as well. So here we have two completely different takes on kind of all-in-one boxes. The reason I have these is that I mostly play outside of my home. Even though this is a game room, I have no friends, or for some reason they don't want to visit me. Let's not question that too much, but it means that I need a good way to carry my teams, even just to a local gaming store or to a tournament. I really like having a dice tray included, because although yes, you could just take a separate dice tray, I always forget my dice tray. You also want some sort of score tracker. That legit has revolutionized things for me. Otherwise, you have to do it digitally. It's a little bit awkward. This is from GG Easy Prints. This is from Crossfire Games, as you can tell. This one is legit really good to put into your backpack. That's why I use this one. And then this one is really good for it takes up a little bit more space at the table. And if you're driving somewhere, well, you don't need a backpack, do you? So if I'm driving to a tournament and I think that space is going to be a little bit tight on the tables, I go with the GG Easy. If I'm taking a backpack, take the train, whatever, and I think we're going to have plenty of space, I will go with the Crossfire Games. Aside from that, they're basically the same, but those are why I use each one in each different scenario. Everything I'm about to mention here, I have discount codes for you. I get a little kickback. It'd be awesome if you could use them. That'd be great. Thank you very much. Aside from that, they're essentially the same, just in totally different formats. So the Crossfire Games, the lid is your dice box, and then this is your Essentials box, which has your score tracker on top, has a place for your tokens, your cards, your approved ops, your everything in here, your objective markers. By the way, you have to buy objective markers. Everything else I'm saying is just fun little things. You have to buy objective markers. There you go. It's just a thing. This just denotes your 1-inch control range around an objective marker. These are easy to print them off yourself. You don't have to buy these, but get them somehow. There you go. Another extra that you kind of, in a sense, do need is called equipment. So every game you have the option of dropping, for example, some player place terrain, like some ladders or barbed wire or some light or heavy barricades, but they 3D print them. There you go. This is the exact dimensions you need. Everyone's okay with these being used, and then you don't have to paint them, firstly. Or I suppose you could if you wanted, but also you don't have to buy the equipment pack, which isn't the best value for money, if I'm being entirely honest with you. But to each their own, of course. Some people just like painting plastic, which is fair. This is your approved ops deck. You've got everything here, including your map layouts and all your crit ops, tac ops, etc. I would strongly recommend, if you're using this regularly, to buy some tarot-sized card sleeves, very required. And then this is a token caddy from Crossfire Games. You get your extra markers in there, and you get all of these markers. Now, again, I've become a little bit particular in my old age. Some of these tokens are 3D printed from Crossfire Games. Some of them have a little bit more vibrancy to them, like my Engage and Conceal orders and my Markerlight token for the Tau. And so I get those from buythesametoken.com. Again, links, affiliate, money off, all in descriptions. You can find everything I'm talking about there. But just know that this is a weird token caddy because I've mixed like 2 or 3 different products into one thing. And you can tell which one of these I've used most recently. It's actually the Crossfire Games one, because I have all of my measuring sticks in here. A really cool thing is these. I don't know if you've seen them. So these are actually from GG Easy, not from Crossfire Games. But you see you got your 6 there. Look at that, 7, 8, 9. Very fun little fidget spinner things here. There you go. I'd recommend these. These are quite fun. But also, I'd recommend these little sticks. I find these incredibly useful, so I chuck as many in as I can. And of course, this is then a magnetized sheet for you to keep all your models on. I, of course, haven't magnetized my models, so they're just falling all over the place. And then inside you get an extra tray down the bottom here to put other things. I would recommend you need to figure out your wounds, okay? I use these, which I really like. You can, just magnetize little things that you can flip around to denote your wounds. Some people are more than happy to use dice, small dice, whatever, that works. But I'm on the rotating wound token bandwagon at the moment. And again, this is a little Crossfire Games thing where you get to keep track of different equipment and abilities that you're using for your team in this game. And then on the flip side, you've got the GG Easy. Now, you buy a 4-litre, really useful box yourself. And then what I like about this is that you just pull this out, and that's everything you need. Again, it's a magnetized unit tray holder there. You just put that away, and then all you need is this. This has your token caddy, extra dice, extra tokens, your score tracker, and your actual dice tray. Right there, a 1. Ah, that's painful. Okay, those were my good dice as well. Never mind, it's fine. Don't forget to buy loaded dice, I guess. That would help. Another cool thing he does, by the way, is these cool little base steppers. So if you're trying to figure out a really tight maneuver, you buy these for the different base sizes. These are 32s, you've also got 40s, 25s, etc. That's because this little base here, this is so that you don't cut a corner. These are quite fun. I rarely use them, but it's nice to have them in the box for when I do need them. There you go. And that just makes sure that you're not actually cutting off any corners. So again, quite legitimately, I use both of these from GG Easy and from Crossfire Games. Pick the one that you prefer. This is more expensive, this is cheaper, but they have different use cases in my opinion. Again, I'm really not trying to tell you which you should buy. I'm telling you how I personally use them, and I recommend that you pick one that you think looks cool to you. Finally, the actual most expensive thing you're ever going to buy for Kill Team is the number of paints you need. So I can't help you on that one. I don't like hobby, I don't like painting, so I don't know, you guys figure that one out. There's much bigger channels than me that will tell you how to make that cheap. But legit, hobby is always the most expensive part of this. Buying the models, next to nothing compared to the thousands of paints that people seem to like to buy. And with all of that said, we get to the quickfire round, because I asked my Patreons, I said, hey, this is the video, what did I forget? And this is what they came back with, so thanks to my Patreons for reminding me about things I forgot. Don't go too mad buying everything, buy the least amount possible and build out from there. Yeah, I guess. I mean, hey, look, we all have different personality types. I would strongly buy the starter set. If you enjoy the hobby, if you enjoy learning the game, go from there. That is legit your best first purchase. Don't buy everything. That is a very solid thing. Don't buy Volcus and Toon World and Beta Decima and 5 teams. You know, build your addiction slowly, right? If you go hard all at once, it's going to be hard to get that high again, is all I'm saying. Starter set, I already mentioned that. So buy the starter set, yeah. List of videos that go into everything in more depth, proxy equipment, your 40k faction, how to choose your team, what's the most fun, oh yeah. So if anything that I've said in this video has sparked a bit of interest for you, I've already done a video talking about it. There you go. This is really a summary, easy to find video for everything. For example, if you're a 40k and you're looking to get into kill team, but you can't actually figure out what your team is, I have a video that explains what your kill team is for each 40k faction. If you want a rundown on any rule, I've done it. You know, line of sight's the biggest rule. You know, I've done a really good one on that. I've done why elites are the best. I've done how to choose your team. Obviously, I said in this one, just go with what looks cool, but there are much more factors to it than that when you're a little bit further into the hobby train. So I've done all of that. Just Google Glass Half Dead X and you'll find it. I should mention solo/co-op. So in case you don't know, Kill Team has official PvE missions and PvPvE missions. So if you just want to play with a friend, there are official rules in how you can do that. But also, if you want to play solo, there are official rules in the Kill Team core book on how you can play against the enemy. There's an AI rule set, very cool stuff. It expands more in Typhon. And again, if you check in the Kill Team app, there are additional rules for additional things that you can do solo and co-op, which is really cool. The best way to learn the game is for somebody else to teach you the game. That's hands down the way across every single tabletop war game out there. And that includes Kill Team. But the best way to learn it, legit, is cooperative play for Kill Team. Kill Team's a very lethal game, and you really, really should be playing it co-op to learn the game the first few times. And that's it from the Patreons there. Thank you very much. If I did forget anything else that you think is absolutely critical for new players to know and understand going into their first few games of Kill Team, specifically how to get started, how to buy their way into Kill Team, please do leave a comment, and I might end up pinning it if it's like, oh yeah, that was actually mandatory and I forgot it completely, sorry. That'd be awesome. But now that we are at the end of the video, I would like to give you a present, and that present is a big triple hello. Wow, so wholesome. That is all yours for watching to the end of the video. Again, if anything in this video has been of interest to you, but I didn't elaborate on it enough, the chances are that if you search Glass Half Dead, the thing you want to know, there will be a video I've done on it. I've been here for too long. I'm old AF, as foretold. And of course, if you want to support me, I do have a Patreon where I do some extra videos, some primarily rambles and my thoughts on things, the meta, the state, Kill Team, hobby, whatever. Check that out. But also, of course, using my affiliate links, either to buy your Warhammer from any of my affiliate links or the gear here. That'd be absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. I hope that you enjoy buying Kill Team.